Hello, my name is Scott Baker, and this video tutorial is going to introduce you to Raven and discuss some of the prerequisites, the initial steps that you'll need to do to be able to use the Raven tools. So here the website you're looking at is our Raven Wiki, and this has the most up-to-date information on installing and using Raven. In fact, you can find a link to this very video tutorial here under the video tutorials link. So some of the interesting stuff on here, there's an overview of Raven. It has a nice picture, tells you how to use Raven, tells you our various components, various software that we have. So there's actually two main components to Raven, and that is the Stork, Tempest, and Raven suite, which is used to publish packages out into your experiment, so it's used to deploy your experiment on your nodes. And the other tool is OWL, which is our instrumentation and measurement tool. The OWL tool is used to retrieve information from your nodes and present it to you for results to your experiment, or just information to know that your experiment is proceeding appropriately. So for the first step that we're going to take here, we need to install the Princeton SFI tool. And we actually have a pointer to that on our Raven Wiki, but you can find the link here at svnplanetlab.org/wiki/SFA installation guide. And it will tell you how to use Yum to install the SFI tool on your computer. So let's do that now. For this step, we're going to install the SFI tool so that we can interact with the SFA and get ourselves a Genie credential that we can use for the Raven tools. So let's start by installing the SFI client. We'll have to install some files to our Yum repository, so I'm changing directory into the etc yum repos.d directory. And we'll need root access to do that, so let me change over to root. Now let's create a new repository file to have the information for the PLC repository, which contains the SFI packages. The contents of this file are described on Princeton's website, and I will type them in now. Once we have the file entered, we can save it. And now we are able to install the SFA client on our machine. We'll do that using Yum. Yum will ask us if we want to install the packages. We say yes. So now we have SFI installed. We can exit root and go back to user access. We need to create a .sfi directory that will hold our private key and our configuration. So let's make a directory for that. It's called .sfi in your home directory. Now we need to create an SFI config file. Contents of this file are also described on Princeton's website, but you'll have to enter a few custom parameters. The first one is the name of your authority. This, of course, is going to depend on the particular institute that you're working with. For me, I happen to be working with the University of Arizona, so I've entered plc.arizona as my authority. Now the username, similar to the authority, it'll be one level underneath the authority, so my authority was plc.arizona. My username is plc.arizona.smbaker. The line I just entered describes the location of the SFI repository. It's pretty much fixed by Planet Lab. And the next line after that will describe the slice manager. And finally, we have the location of the Genie aggregate manager. Now that we've created the SFI config file, we can save it. The next step is for me to get a private key into the .sfi directory. Private key will be used to authenticate me with Genie. And I will simply copy one of my SSH keys out of my SSH directory. Let's do that now. Now, there's a problem in using keys with passphrases in them. in that you'll be constantly prompted to enter your passphrase. So it's easiest just to strip out the passphrase. And we can strip out a passphrase using OpenSSL. This will modify our key so that it does not require a passphrase to be used. In order to do that, we have to enter our passphrase. So I'll type in my passphrase. And I now have changed the key to one that doesn't require a passphrase. So at this point we have the SFI tools installed, we have them configured, and we have our private key with no passphrase in the appropriate locations. I'll just run the SFI tool, tell it to show plc.arizona.smbaker. Takes it a second to do this. There we go. There is our information from Genie. So here's our information from Genie. So we don't actually need to know any of this for using Stork. What we did need was a Genie credential. And if we look inside of our .sfi directory, we will see that a couple additional files have been deposited there. One of them is smbaker.cred. And the cred is the credential file that was retrieved as a side effect of looking at our user record. And that is the credential file that we will supply to the Raven tool in the next tutorial. So the next thing that we're going to do is to install the Raven tool on your computer. So we have a Getting Started section, and it will tell you how to install Raven using Yum. So let's do that now. So let me change into our Yum directory. Need to do this as root. And we need to create a repository file that will hold our Raven repository information. The contents of this file are described in our tutorial on the website. You can cut and paste the text directly out of there. I'm going to type it in. Basically, we're just supplying a URL to where Yum can find the packages. That's all we need to type. We can save it. Now we can install Raven using the Yum command. It'll ask us if we want to download and install the packages. We say yes. And now the part we need to do as root is done, so we can exit out of root. And the Raven tool is now installed. So, for example, we can get help on it. There it is. Those are the actions that Raven can do, and we will tell you how to actually use Raven in the next tutorial. In order to use the Raven tools on your slice, you need to install a couple of our software packages called Stork and Tempest into your slice. Now there's several different ways to do that. If you're a Planet Lab user, then it's very simple. You can use our Stork repository. It's located at storkrepository.cs.arizona.edu. Just log into that. Takes a second to verify the permission with Princeton. We go over here to the slice control link. So the slice control link presents a list of the slices that we have access to on Planet Lab. And we can select any slice we want. So for example, I could select Arizona Nest. Takes it a second to get the status. And it says Stork is currently uninstalled on the slice Arizona Nest. So all we need to do is click the Start Stork button here, and it will cause the Stork init script to be instantiated on your slice. Now, if you're not using Planet Lab or some environment that allows you to automatically install software, then you'll need to manually install Stork on your slice using some mechanism. So what we're going to do here is we're going to log into one of the slivers and manually install Stork. So I'm currently logged into a slice called Arizona Stork Install on the node planetlab.cs.uoregon.edu. So on this node I can install Stork by first going to root mode. So I'm now root. Now I will get a copy of the Stork init script from the CS Arizona EDU website. Get a copy of that. Now all I need to do is just run the init script. It's a simple bash script. And at this point, Stork is now installed on this particular sliver. Now, this would be somewhat time-consuming to do this manually on all of the nodes in your slice, so you'll probably want to use some automated mechanism. We suggest using the Gush interactive shell as one possible mechanism to install Stork on all of your nodes in your slice. Another mechanism might be to write a script to contact them all via SSH and run the command. We're working on a tool to do that as well for non-Planet Lab users. This concludes the Raven Prerequisites tutorial. We've shown you how to install the SFI tools, we've shown you how to install the Raven tool, and we've shown you how to install the Stork and Tempest tools on one of your slices. The next tutorial will be the deploying packages using Raven tutorial, and that will show you how to actually build a sample package and deploy it using Raven.